What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, my peeps? This guy Ray coming to you live all the way from here. Where's here? Right chair. Just want to get this thing popping. Want to get this thing popping. Welcome to Ray's Corner Live. Welcome to Ray's Corner Live, man. I ain't did this in a while on all these live channels, but listen, I want to do this. I want to get this housekeeping out the way. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscription button, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that notification button so you know when I'm popping because I'm running that HBO special. Help a brother out because I need to get 1,000 subscriptions by February. Hey, if you on my Facebook, you know what time it is. But let's get right with it. Today we're going to be getting with Moved or Be Moved, a Kingdom Reckoning in Housing the Homeless. But before we get in, let me hit y'all with this.
Time for the people like this. Race Corner Live, Race Corner Live. Never be surprised that Ray is on the rise. Never be a fool, take it from the rise. Instagram, Facebook, Ray is going live. From Canada across the world, you can see that he's beneficial. Never the same topics, he's speaking on different issues. Preaching at different churches and speaking at different venues. Ray is that living proof that Jesus is really with you. Controversial issues, he gon' talk about it. Without Ray's Corner Live, hear his thoughts about it. If you ain't tuning in, just know you tripping, homie. This ain't all about religion, it's the wisdom, homie.
All right, y'all miss hearing that Ray's Corner Live thing, that Ray's Corner Live thing. Hey, just had to get it in there. I had to get it in there. It's gone. Welcome to Ray's Corner Live, coming to you live all the way from here. Where it's here. Right. Chill. So, man, I'm telling you. So I want to talk to you guys tonight because there's some things going on in this homeless community, man, all across the country. There's this new narrative going around. This old guard, man, the way you used to do things, man, it's not working no more. It just not working no more. It had its time when it was doing its time. But now it's time to move or be moved because it's a kingdom reckoning in housing the homeless. I'm hearing that word reckoning before, right? It was a video. There's something on Netflix talking about reckoning, but I am going to leave that alone. So I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to get this thing going, right? How are we going to do this? Moved or be moved. A kingdom reckoning in housing the homeless. And I want to bring it from a biblical perspective from out of the book of Jude, Jude. I was listening to a pastor this morning. He was over in South Africa, and he came out of the book of Jude, and it was such a warning, man. Like, I was like, well, how can this apply to housing the homeless? See, so today tonight, I want to start in the book of Jude. And I'm not going to use no verses or anything like that right now. I just want to run through it, and then I'm going to do some Bible studies on it and everything. But tonight, we're just going to deal with this thing because Jude is not long. See, but Jude is direct. It's not a long, it's one chapter, but it's very direct. See, Jude was written at a moment when leadership refused to change, system protected themselves, and people were being harmed in the process. We're talking about this old guard. They refused to change. They refused to let anyone in. The system that they had in place, they're protecting it, and people are being harmed in the process. People are being put in units like with nothing. And the next thing you know, they're back out on the street, or drug boys have taken over their house. See, in the book of Jude, it didn't come to inspire comfort. Tonight, I'm not trying to, or whenever you hear this, I'm not trying to comfort you. I'm not trying to comfort the old guard. I'm not trying to comfort this thing about homeless that's going across the nation. See, I'm here to issue a warning: move out the way or be moved. I'm going to say that again. You got to start realizing the way housing has been being done, it's just not working. And you have this old guard that's consistently resisting the change. So I'm here today to issue a warning: move out the way or be moved. Move out the way or be moved. See, when Jude was around, he came and there was tension, there was things going on. It's that same attention that exists today. And it's not, there's a lot of tension and stuff in the church, but in how we're been housing homeless people. There's a tension there. There's this like challenge of how we've been housing homeless people. So I'm not saying nothing bad about the old guard. What started with good intentions has become a system that managing people instead of transforming lives. We got to understand that we're dealing with people. We're not just dealing with numbers. We're not just dealing with statistics. We're just not putting them in a unit and checking them off. The intentions was good. So this is not about bashing the old guard. It's about understanding that the intention was good, but there was things missing. So what's happening? What's happening across the United States? There's a growing recognition that the old way isn't working anymore, and that a new kingdom-aligned approach must take place. And I'm here to tell you this: this is moved or be moved. A kingdom reckoning in housing. That's our title today. That is our title today. This title is like moved or be moved. A kingdom reckoning in housing, the homeless. So when we talk about across the United States, there is a growing shift. It's a shift, and they're shifting to a more lived experience leader. What do I mean lived experience? I mean somebody who has walked in the steps of being homeless, of being in them streets, that eating out of trash cans, sleeping in abandoned buildings, running to and fro from shelters, couch surfing, and all those things. The new trend now is growing towards people who have lived this experience and has came out. The people we were once in the line, now we're leading the line. Across the U.S., there is a growing shift of how we do homeless. One is with lived experience. Two is transformation over management. Managing people, it's not work. We need to transform the lives of our people. Understanding that we take them from a homeless state to a unit. It's only thing happens is a geographical location change. We just change location geographically, but the mindset is the same. So we need to go from transformation over management. New models replacing legacy systems. Systems that's been in place so long, like it's not applying, it's not working. Because people are being recycled. So you got to understand, I'm not talking about rebellion against the system. I'm talking about its succession. I'm talking about moving it out the way. I'm talking about it's time for a new thing. It's time. So let me get you with this. Like, what is driving this new national shift? I'm gonna say this again. What is driving this new national shift to go from the way it was to inspiring people with this lived experience to forming transformation? See, the old models are probably failing. Not probably, they are failing. For decades, the system focused on what? Bed counts, compliance matrix, program participation without outcomes. See, so what's happening is cities are now realizing that homelessness is not decreasing. Actually, I listened to an article just the other day where in this one city it has been increasing. And the ironic part is that just some months ago they just cleared out a section and now it's got worse. I can say that when they cleared that section out, they housed people, and yes, that they got in the house, but I'm here to tell you, it still wasn't done right. Because you got to understand that the costs are skyrocketing. Public trust is eroding. People are cycling, not being stabilized. They're just going in a vicious cycle. Getting in the house, losing the house, moving to another one, tearing up one apartment to another apartment, new new deposit, all these things. So when systems are failing, and it has failed for so long, credibility is collapsing. And the way we do things, the way things have been done, credibility is collapsing because it's not working. Let me give you the second thing that I want to talk about. Lived experience is being formalized. See, this is the key. Watch this. I was talking to somebody. It's like they were saying, well, a case manager, don't they know about homeless? I said, guess what? 10, 15, 20 years, a social worker or a case manager, you can identify behaviors. You could just look and identify behaviors with certain things about homeless people, which is true. But what you can't do is identify feelings and thoughts. Meaning, you can't feel what they feel. I was homeless, right? You can't. If I'm having a conversation with you and I'm telling you something about how I feel when I'm homeless, a lot of times there'll be a pushback. No, well, you can't. No, you can't tell me how I feel because you never felt that way. You never felt the way it felt to walk outside a building and look left and right and front and back and have nowhere to go. You never felt like that going digging in trash cans, finding that good food that it became normal. That there was no problem in doing that. You can't tell me how that feels. You can't tell me after 28 years being clean some of the things, some of the thoughts that still hit my mind from the situations things that I was doing. See, what used to be dismissed as anecdotal is now being recognized as, watch this, when we're talking about lived experience, now we're recognizing that those with lived experience are really subject matter experts. Those with lived experience really are trauma-informed authority about real trauma. How you can change that trauma, how you can change that trauma into training and put a purpose on that trauma. And it real trauma-informed authority, not from no class, but from actually living that life in trauma and then coming out of that trauma to be on this side. Systems level insight, how systems don't really work. Because now you're seeing lived experience advisory boards, peer leadership roles, peer navigators replacing case-only models, formerly homeless consultants on policies. Let me stop for a minute. You see now lived experience advisory boards. Why? Because those of us with lived experience who have been through it and made it through the other side can tell you exactly the steps that it took, exactly how to deal with the feelings and the thoughts that was coming up against us. Peer leadership roles. Because because I got 28 years clean, I'm still in the process. I still understand homeless because those 3 years that I was on the streets, but those 20 years I never had a key. I never had my name on a lease. I might have had a key, but when they said get out, I had to get out. Peer navigators replacing case only managers. See, one thing you got to understand about navigation, and listen, when you get a chance, go to Ray Wilkerson, get my books on housing navigators, from homeless to housing the homeless, right? Housing the homeless from from a lived experience of a housing navigator, which is me. See, it's how it really should work, right? Case managers need to do case management work. Social workers need to do social work, right? They don't need to deal with landlords and housing issues. That's what the navigator is for. The navigator placed the person in the house. The navigator dealt with the landlord. So when situations happen, the case manager or the social worker should call the navigator to deal with the housing issue so they don't get burnt out. Having case managers dealing with landlords and going out and doing all this crazy stuff don't make no sense because they're getting burnt out. They don't have a relationship with that landlord. What happens is that landlord turns into a caseworker. Formerly homeless leaders consulting on policy. Who better to help with policy than the people who was homeless? What really worked? What didn't work? I created a program, Exodus Life Change. Pod, my Exodus Life Change Pod program, a place of delivery where we do housing. Who better to know how to go from homeless to permanent housing than someone who was homeless? With our 4-tier program, support level 1, 2, independently 1 and 2, because there should be a bridge between coming from homeless and becoming a renter, or before you move in a unit. There has to be a shared living process in place to relearn how to do things normally. It took me 60 to 90 days when I went this program to relearn how to brush my teeth regularly, to wash up regularly, to take showers regularly, to make my bed regularly. And here's what's ironic. Many systems created these roles, but still resist giving the power. I was on a project and I was put in the role, but the power was taken away from me. I'm just going to keep it 100 because they thought they knew more. They thought they knew better, but a system that I've been using for years have always worked. But it's ironic. We're putting roles, we're putting in systems, and still, watch this, still not having the power to make decisions. And this is exactly what Jude was exposing or talking about, right? Put us in a role, but don't give us the power. So the language is changing nationwide. This is not about no particular place where I was or where I've been. This is nationwide. It's across housing. It's across reentry. It's across behavior health. The language has shifted to these certain things. And I was having a meeting the other day, and I started using some of these words, and the social worker was like, "Oh yeah, you getting it." So the language is shifting it's shifting to transformation. It's shifting to stability pathways. It's shifting to whole person care. It's shifting to baseline assessment. It's shifting to peer-led engagement. It's shifting to recovery capital. And let me just break transformation, changing the lives of people. That's what we do. It's a transformation. It's a stability pathway. When we go from homelessness and go into this shared living program, and then we go into the unit, that's a stable pathway because it gives us time to prepare to be a renter. When you talk about whole person care, we're talking about the framework. What framework am I talking about? Spiritual empowerment, domestic empowerment, social empowerment, and economical empowerment. Spiritual empowerment, domestic empowerment, social empowerment, economical empowerment. Those are the 4 areas that make a person whole. Baseline assessment. We do not house based on bed availability. We house based on people's baseline. Hence the 4-tier program. Supported living 1 and 2, independent living 1 and 2. And whichever baseline they fit goes into that particular unit, goes into that particular shared living unit, because everybody's on the same baseline. Everybody is working together. And you got to understand, where did all this new language come from? Peer-led engagement, recovery capital. The language didn't come from think tanks. It came from people like myself who survived the streets. See, we weren't out there living. We was out there surviving. So we're going to tell you what certain things that you need to hear. How we survived those streets. How these are the things that we need to, that we walked through, that we were transformed to, that we were placed at. See, the old, and I keep, listen, I had 4 or 5 things in place. This was number 4, and I think I didn't tell you about 3 and whatever. It don't matter, because I'm just on the roll. The old guard is losing moral authority. Now, this is real important. The old guard is losing moral authority, but watch this. The old guard still has the funding, the titles, and the institutions. So even when I was on this project and I was in a position of authority, the old guard still was calling the shots. Even though the work that I was doing was the work that needed to be done, but the old guard, because they didn't understand how to transformation and creating culture, made a mess of it. And of course, this is what happened. What the old guard does, it doesn't take responsibility. It starts blaming others for their inability, because they're trying to impart the old way into something new. Even though they have the funding, they have the titles, right? But what's happening is, they're losing moral credibility. They're losing result-based authority. They're losing community trust. I'm gonna say it again. They're losing moral credibility. Their credibility is starting to be shot because people are seeing through their lies. That result-based authority. There's no results in what they're doing. And the community now, community trust. No, man, we done seen this before. We done went down this block before. So that's why resistance look like, watch this. This is their resistance. Credibility, credential policy, meaning you have to have some type of credential, doctor, this and that, right? Tone policy, they've created a policy where most people who with lived experience don't have these things. Policy, weaponization, right? This is how all this is done. And those tools that we're talking about, those 4 things, they're not leadership tools. They are defensive tactics. That's how they're defending themselves. Oh, you don't have a degree, so you don't know what you're talking about. Well, it's funny. I got a degree in how to be homeless. I got a degree how to come out of homeless. So now here's what you're seeing spiritually. Let me take you in from a kingdom lens, and this is important. See, because God always raises Joseph when Pharaoh's systems run dry. he raises David's when Saul refuses to move. He raises apostolic builders when priestly systems are stagnated. I'm going to say that again. God always raised a Joseph when Pharaoh's system runs dry. He raises David's when Saul refuses to move. He raises apostolic builders when priestly systems are stagnated. This is not about disrespect, it's about fruit. Where are the fruit? You shall know them by their fruit. Where's the fruit from all these years? One thing Jesus never asked, how long has this been in place? Now I'm gonna say that Jesus never asked how long has this been in place. He asked, what fruit does it bear? What fruit? What fruit have we seen? Now, don't get me wrong. There's some fruit. There's people who came out of there. You know, it's a lot of us that came up out of there. But there's a lot of waste in spending, a recycling of the same people from systems that you've been trying that just really don't work. People might still be in the house, but they're living. The only difference is at their geographical location because their house looks just like the tent. Looks like the encampment where they came from, hoarding everything that they have. So why? What makes this what I'm saying so powerful? See, one of the things I understand is what people already feel. And why this new message is so powerful. It names what people already feel. It explains why systems feel stuck. It gives language to silent frustration. So this new thing, it offers a structured alternative when you're talking about moving from the streets to shared living to permanent units. See, we're not talking about tearing everything down because some things work. Don't get me wrong. What I'm saying is what you built no longer produces life. My old guards. That's why this conversation is everywhere. That's why cities are taking another look at homelessness. That's why HUD is taking another look at homelessness. That's why faith-based housing is taking another look at homelessness. That's why reentry program. We are all having this conversation. That's why recovery places. We're all having this conversation. That's why policy circles are all having this conversation. See, the real question is not, is it happening? The real questions are, who gets to lead the transition? Do we continue to let this old guard who does not have this lived experience of transformation continue to lead? Or do we put people in place? Or do we continue to not put the right people with the lived experience because we don't have the 4-year degree? We don't have these letters behind our name. But there's so much fruit behind what we do. Will lived experience voices be symbolic or authoritative? Meaning, will we just be saying stuff, or will we actually have the authority to make things change? Will systems adapt or be replaced? So I say this. This is where your work sits. And my final truth before I get out of here, this is not a trend, it's a transfer. Authority is shifting from credentials only leadership to proven transformation leadership. Proven. You got the credentials, but I have proof of transformation based on my life. So authority is shifting from credentials to proven transformation, from housing people where there's space to housing people where they can grow, housing them based on their baseline and not on bed availability, from managing homelessness to ending cycles, the same round and round the mulberry bush. You're not too late. You're not alone. And you're not off base. So it's time. Time to move forward. Time to make this thing start happening. Time for the old guard to accept that there's new leadership coming and embrace and open up the doors and release the power, release the funding. Move or be moved. A kingdom reckoning and housing the homeless is here and it's coming. The real fruit is getting ready to happen. And I'm leaving you with this. Transformation and not just placing is the new trend. Lived experience opposed to credentials is the new experience. Hey, look, this guy Ray coming to you live all the way from here, where it's here, right here. Listen, I want you guys, whenever you get a chance, go to Amazon and go to Amazon. Type in Ray Wilkerson, get some of my books. I got 4 or 5 books talking about housing navigation, housing the homeless, all that good stuff. And there's a book on me, right? So listen, I'm going to get ready to get out here. Like we always say at Exodus Life Change / Ray's Corner Live or Ray's Corner Live, Exodus Life Change, because I'm on both my channels right now. And I'm on Facebook on Ray Wilkerson. And listen, I'm going to get out here like we always say, God loves you and I love you. And guess what? Ain't nothing you can do about it. Peace out.